Welcome to History, Human Rights, and the Power of One, the podcast where we explore the legacy of justice through the voices of the past and how those voices still speak to us today. I'm Kenneth B. Morris Jr., great-great-great-grandson of Frederick Douglass and great-great-grandson of Booker T. Washington. I'm co-founder and president of Frederick Douglass Family Initiatives. In today's episode, I'm reflecting on the question I'm asked more than any other, one that feels more urgent than ever in our current moment of turmoil. What would Frederick Douglass think? What would he say if he were here with us today? This isn't just casual curiosity anymore. No, this question has evolved. It now carries urgency, born from chaos, frustration, and the feeling that the ground is shifting beneath us. On May Day this year, tens of thousands took to the streets in nearly 1,000 cities, demanding protection for immigrant rights, labor rights, and democratic norms under attack. At the same time, the current administration has begun rolling back critical civil rights protections and diversity initiatives, testing the limits of what this country claims to stand for. The moral compass of the nation feels out of calibration. So when people ask me, what would Frederick Douglass think? They're really saying, help us find clarity, help us find direction. Because I carry his DNA, literally, I don't take this lightly. I carry his story, sacrifice, and vision as a part of my inheritance. And I believe his voice still has something vital to say, especially in this moment when truth feels fragile and democracy uncertain. Black history is American history. It's not a side story. It's the central thread of the nation's pursuit of freedom and justice. That pursuit has never been easy, and it's never been finished. As a descendant of Frederick Douglass, I feel obligated to honor his legacy and continue it. That means asking tough questions and being willing to answer them. So what would he think? Frederick Douglass was a man of fierce principle and even fiercer clarity. He reserved his sharpest words for hypocrisy, in particular the hypocrisy of those who preached morality while upholding slavery or who spoke of liberty while denying it to millions. Today, I believe he would direct that same righteous fire toward those who invoke his name during Black History Month, only to turn around and suppress the very history they claim to celebrate. He would call out those rewriting his story, using his image to scold modern protest movements while ignoring the fact that he spent his life disrupting systems of injustice. He would not be silent about what's happening now. He never was. My great ancestor spoke out when speaking out could get you killed. So we can safely assume he wouldn't stay quiet in the face of voter suppression, attacks on immigrants, or the erosion of civil rights laws. He would say exactly what he said in 1857 during his West India emancipation speech. He said, if there's no struggle, there is no progress. Those who profess to favor freedom and yet deprecate agitation are men who want crops without plowing up the ground. They want rain without thunder and lightning. He knew the fight for justice was hard and often thankless, but he also believed that relentless, strategic, moral agitation was necessary to bring about real change. When I speak with students, I see the power of Douglass's message all over again. Their questions range from playful to profound, but lately, more and more of them ask not just about the past, but about the present. They want to know, what do we do when the system feels rigged, when truth is under attack, when justice feels out of reach? I always return to Frederick Douglass, because even in the darkest moments of his life, he didn't lose hope. He didn't have blind optimism, but what I call disciplined hope, the kind forged through struggle, the kind that comes from knowing you're on the right side of history even when the world hasn't caught up yet. In 1894, just a year before he died, Frederick Douglass gave one of his last great speeches, Lessons of the Hour. At a time when the promises of Reconstruction were unraveling and Jim Crow laws were tightening their grip, he warned that the gains of freedom could be undone and he called on Americans to recommit to the founding ideals of the Republic. He said, "Your Republic will stand and flourish forever, but only," he made clear, "if we continue to fight for liberty and equality." That wasn't a prediction. It was a challenge. And that challenge still stands. Right now, our country is at a crossroads. As we look ahead to the 250th anniversary of the United States in 2026, we need to ask ourselves hard questions. It's not just about where we've been, but where we're going. Will we be the generation that protects the gains of the past or the one that lets them slip away? Will we teach our children to tell the truth about history, even the painful parts, or will we hand them a sanitized, whitewashed version that flatters the powerful and forgets the oppressed? These are not abstract questions. They're urgent, and they demand something from each of us. Because the fight for justice is not over, not even close. And Douglass would be the first to remind us that justice is never self-executing. The arc of history doesn't bend toward justice on its own. We have to bend it. So what would Frederick Douglass think? He'd think it's time to stop looking backward for comfort and start looking forward with courage. He'd think it's time to hold this nation accountable, not because we hate it, because we love it enough to demand better. And I believe he would leave us with the same charge he gave a young activist more than a century ago. Agitate, agitate, agitate. Thank you for listening to History, Human Rights, and the Power of One. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone asking the same hard questions. Frederick Douglass's legacy isn't just a part of history. It's a mirror, a challenge, and a mandate for all of us to rise to the moment. You can read the full version of this piece on my Substack and subscribe for more reflections on how the past can guide our fight for justice today. Until next time, keep agitating, keep questioning, and keep standing on the right side of history.